Alright, so here's the deck I was running. It's purple Mervamon, running. The eggs are just Tsunamon, which was super good. It's not Demi Mirror because you aren't trying to aggro with your level 3s and 4s as much in this deck because you're trying to climb up into Minerva a lot. You're, so Tsunamon gets you a lot of value off of your Blue Mirror and Lady Devi effects, which you're trying to go into because that's part of your overall game plan. And it also triggers off of the Gabumon draw. And I've gotten a lot of draws out of this. Um, really good way to maintain hand size as you're doing your plays and helping you find your pieces because finding your pieces is mega important. And I'm fifth place. Okay. Um, and of course, for rookies, running three Gabumon because you want to draw a discard. It's not the other Gabumon because I said before you're not trying to delete your own Digimon as often. This will help you. You're trying to swing with Minervamon a lot, so this will help you cycle and trigger your Tsunamons. Especially nice that it triggers Tsunamon without having to die, which means you don't get. If that was the case, then you wouldn't be getting Tsunamon effect. So that works out that well that way. And you're running for Ignite because Ignite's super important. It does so much for you. You get it for free off of Minerva effect, and you can use it to pop Minerva, or you can just drop it at some point in the game, or put in Raising, move up and swing and pop Minerva. Um, but that inheritable goes fucking crazy because it's all turns. Whenever you play Digimon V effect, um, of course, when you Digicross Mervamon, you get the one memory that way, but you can also get the one memory when Minervamon plays in effect Digimon with its opponent's turn's effect, which is a good like floodgate-esque effect, so that whenever they play Digimon, you go, cool, Minerva effect. I play a guy and gain like one memory for Ignite, one memory for Blue Mera. That could be huge. I've literally ended turns that way in this tournament. Um, the other rookies I'm running are three Gazi, one Psych, one Demi Devi. Demi Devi is like a holdover from my previous list. It's nice as a retaliation target for Mervamon, as a level 3, or as a rush target since you can have Mervamon out, have 3 memory because of whatever, and then just play it for 3 and swing. It hasn't come up in this tournament a lot, but it has for previous lists and for previous people, so that's why it's there. Psychmon and Gazis are my floodgates. Gazi I felt was super important because I was using it to it really shuts down Bloom. They literally cannot unsuspend with Bloom as long as Gazimon is on the board. So it really fucks that matchup. I don't know how well, in theory, it's supposed to help with All Force and Machine Draw as well, but I didn't run into those this tournament, so I wouldn't know how well that does. And Psychmon, one of, because I didn't expect to see Digicross as much. Of course, Blue Flare I should have expected to see, but I guess I valued the Gazi one more because I valued the matchups into Bloom and Machindra more. But maybe splitting is to 2-2 probably might be better. The reason I went three Gazi is because against All Force they can bounce one of your Gazimons when they evolve, which means they can still gain their memory off their Vmon and Vidramon effects. So I was thinking I needed two, so that if he bounces one, the other one still blocks him from gaining those effects and blocks him from keeping turn when going into all force. For level fours, you got four Dark Lizards, great card. Retaliation, draws one, discard one on deletion, something really important uh, for cycling. It can be kind of risky if you're really low in deck size, but since this deck doesn't like cycle nearly as hard as a loop, you should be fine. Um, but the draw discard is really great because it triggers your Tsunamons that are on other bodies. It triggers your Ginkakumons that are on other bodies. Um, yeah, and I just generally prefer it over Solmon because I don't think the DP gain is like that relevant in this deck. I'd rather have the extra cycling that Dark Lizard provides. Other than that, we got the Kaku package. We're running 4 Ginkaku because this is the level 4 that I want to evolve into. Because I want to evolve into Ginkaku, then into Blue Mera or Lady Devi to draw, discard, and gain the memory to turbo into Minerva. So this is the level 4 that I want to see generally, so that's why I'm running 4. And then there's 2 each of the other 2 Kakus. This one's super hot. I mean, it's there to complete the package, but at the same time, it's there to pop floodgates. It's super good for tempo because you're often swinging with your Minervas and triggering this to discard cards and everything. But it's the Kaku package. It's good in general, and of course promote, which completes the whole thing. It's rush. It gains you memory when you play it off Mervamon and you have the full package and everything. Um, level 5s are 4 Blue Mara and 3 Lady Devi. I know I've seen a lot of lists instead of Lady Devi run Skull Mara, because that's another way, but I think I value the draw discard a lot, that so that even if, say, there's a lot of scenarios where this just costs 3 and I just don't have a Nidhogg to discard, or I don't have Ginkakumon and Source, I still want cards in trash before I go into Minerva, because Minerva needs cards in trash for all of her effects. So that's why it's that. But Blue Mirror is obviously why you're running it, right? It's the draw discards. It has retaliation, so it synergizes with Mervamon, and it has that alterns effect that's super busted with Minerva. You know, they play a card, you get a card, you gain a memory, you end their turn, busted. One Lucemon because I felt like I needed the removal, the extra removal. I felt like I don't know, it's cuttable, but I liked it, and it came up a couple of times, and I think it's just nice to have, especially Creepymon. Creepymon was pretty big. I wasn't a lot of times I used it, but without, if I didn't have Creepymon, I think I would have lost round one versus D-Reaper, because this gave me basically an alternate win condition. Um, if I didn't have Creepymon, they basically could just wait. I basically couldn't win the game as long as Gatekeeper is up, right? So Creepymon was super hot there, giving me an alternate win, well, an alternate win condition. Of course, these are the win conditions, Minerva and Mervamon. You play Minerva, you take advantage of opponent's turn to gain free memory, to get free bodies and free memory off Blue Mara and Ignite, and then you swing with it, you have it die, you either pop it yourself with an option or with Ignite, and then you use that effect to play out level 5 so you can keep going, or you can, or Lucemon, or usually you want to be playing Mervamon. Getting Having Minervamon die and getting free Mervamon, which spawns 2 bodies and then gains you memory off Ignite effect, is super hot. That's super just really strong in general. It's just yeah, just really really strong. Minervamon is also just a hot, really good card in general. You can just play it from your hand to establish blockers. Really strong card even on its own, as we've seen before when I've played Mervamon loop decks. But yeah, and of course Nidhoggmon, because I need more ways to more ways to take advantage of my discard engine, because this is it's Nidhoggmon and Ginkakumon that makes the discard engine of Blue Mara a lot more worth it than, say, the Cerberusmon package, because it's these effects that make up for me not having, say, Analog Youth to gain memory. But yeah, Nidhogg was super hot the whole tournament, gaining me memory to help choke or to help evolve into Minerva without passing turn, or just evolve it into Blue Mara without passing turn, so you can evolve into Minerva. Because the sooner you get to Minerva, the sooner they go, well, shit, if I play a card from my hand, they give free bodies, and that's really good. That, that wins you games, especially when you have like things like Ignite in there, so you can play down Pop It. You can play Dark Wizard. You can play Ginkakumon, which also gains you memory. You can play in Floodgates that way, which is really hot. Moving on to the options, 3 purple memory boosts. I don't know where my fourth is, but I might have played the fourth if I had 4, because you need this consistency booster, because your only other way to search is to just dig for cards using your draw effects. And because this is a stack deck, it's really important for you to find your fucking stack cards, your 3s, your 4s, your 5s. So I think Purple Memory Boost is really important. It also is a good setup card. If you set up, 1 or 2 boosts and you have 1 or 2 Jack Raids, you can use that to pop them, play Jack Raid, play Merva without passing turn, swing, and that can help you find lethal. So it's really important in that way. Underworld's Call, I don't know how to feel about. I guess it comes up, but it never came up for me, I guess, specifically. But even if it doesn't, you can always pitch it to draw a card, which helps you dig for more cards. 2 Jack Raids. Since this isn't loop, I'm not playing 4, but the 2 usually come up. I've had definitely a number of moments where they come up, but definitely not 4, because I think Nidhoggmon is more flexible in a deck like this, which doesn't always tend to trash all the time, because you're not sacrificing bodies to security as often. You're not running scatter or whatever. Um, in here, the self-deletion enablers, 2 Pandemonium Flame, 1 Deathclaw, really good. Helps you delete Minervamon, and 2 cost for Pandemonium Flame isn't too much of a problem, because when Mervamon comes out, you get to play Ignitemon, or you get to put Ignite under and get memory that way, so it kind of offsets the 2 costs of Pandemonium. And then Deathclaw as well, because that's a bit more flexible in a way, having the 1 cost, and Calling because it's broken. You never know run calling in a deck like this. It pops your Minervas. It helps you find pieces or get pieces from trash. It does a lot for you. There's not really any way to. There's no questioning adding the cowling in a deck like this, especially with on deletion effects. Uh, and yeah, that's the full profile. What did I lose to this tournament? I lost to Dark Knight. So the decks I won against were Bloomlord twice, D Reaper, thanks to Creepymon, thanks Creepymon, and Psychmon, of course. Psychmon and Creepymon helped me beat D Reaper, which otherwise I would have lost since no Sec Plus means I lose to Gatekeeper. And I beat Gallantmon, who I narrowly managed to beat thanks to Minervamon value when he deleted it, and because of him breaking game too. Um, and I lost to Dark Knight, which is kind of rough. Dark Knight seems doable, but it wasn't. It's not completely doable. Digivolve fucks you entirely. When your game plan is to put Minerva down and hope it sticks, non deletion removal fucks you entirely. I was lucky to not run into All Force or Blue Flare or anything that bounced. Um, but Digivolve is also just as bad. I figured I wouldn't run into Digivolve much because um, Black War Gray isn't in the meta. Uh, but I ran into Dark Knight, which also has the Digivolve, which really, it just out aggroed me, and I couldn't find enough Mervamons to establish enough of a blocking board to deal with it. And even if I did, if I leave them at 4 and I don't have Psychmon, they can just Digivolve the Mervamon and fuck me over, unless I Digicross 2, which still just gives them too much memory usually. Um, yeah, it was rough. In game two, all three of my Mervamons were at the bottom, so that game was completely doomed. Maybe if not, I probably might have had that, but it just wasn't in the cards. I imagine that Machine Drum might be rough for similar reasons, where if, say, I establish a Mervamon, they just evolve up into Chaos Draw and Digivolve this. But I also can see a scenario where, because swing Merva, it dies, spawn Mervamon, swing, 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 that even despite having blocks with Analog Youth, I might still have enough aggression to beat them down. And also, of course, Gazumon should help immensely for that sort of matchup. Um, but I didn't run into it, so I wouldn't know. So I was hoping to run into it and see how that goes, but that's not what happened. So yeah, those were our lineups. DD Joab decks are rough, so Dark Knight one kind of fucked me up. Psychmon just wasn't enough to slow them down. A lot of times they're just fine paying the 7, or they can just pay 4 for the not the Cavalier, the Mighty Axe mode, which pops the Psychmon and lets them pop off. So yeah,